Yeah, thanks, Tim. Great to be here. Yeah, I'm here to talk about two projects the company owns wholly. So let's get started. Next slide, please. Yeah, so some sort of high-level strategic summary of the company. This is really the company on a page and what makes us quite unique in a global context. We've got two projects, which gives us fantastic development optionality. And across both projects, we've got a combined mineral resource of over 50 million tonnes at 1%. We think there's absolutely room for growth there, and that'll be the focus of an exploration campaign across both projects this year. We own two of only 14 JORC compliant lithium resources in Australia, and I think this is really important. Getting to JORC compliance is not an easy task. Really from first tenemency and obviously exploration, development. It is a journey, and it's getting harder. And most resources, as your viewers would know, are typically owned under joint venture arrangements here in Western Australia. It's a great jurisdiction to be mining, and not just the asset classes themselves, but of course all that related infrastructure and expertise that Western Australia has and makes us the preeminent mining jurisdiction on the planet. So it's compared to other jurisdictions, it's a great place to be developing projects. We've got a couple of strategic partners on our register. CamMax, formerly Suzhou TANA. It's one of the major lithium hydroxide producers in China. They've got currently more than 110,000 tonnes of lithium hydroxide conversion capacity, and of course Mineral Resources. We've got a lot of experience in our team, not only commercial, legal, financial, but of course geological. Our team of geos, there's 5 in that group, and they've got collectively 80 odd years of experience sort of finding, exploring and developing lithium assets in Western Australia, and a really strong board and management team, sort of more than 170 years of resources experience within the board. Next slide. Just a snapshot of the company, tightly held register with 250 odd million shares on issue, market cap of about 370 odd million, and importantly, strong capitalised position with about 70 odd million in the bank as at the close of March. A bit of broker coverage down the bottom as well. Two strategics taking about 20% of the register. We've got a couple of high net worth individuals taking about 12, and board and management 4.5%. And the institutional portion of the register is currently sitting around 18%, and the balance being retail. Next. Yeah, just introducing the Mana project. This is really a fly through of what we hope will be a mine of the future, and you can just see it's a wonderful, wonderful jurisdiction to be mining. Semi-arid desert country out to the east of Kalgoorlie, which makes it, from a development perspective and an approvals perspective, we feel generally quite straightforward. Next slide. So again, quick summary, just shows you the geographical context of the project. About 100 kilometres out to the east of Kalgoorlie. It's an outcropping spodumene bearing pegmatite. We've had quite significant intercepts of plus 20 metres at quite high grades, 1.5 to 1.6%. We own the asset outright now after a consolidation towards the back end of last year. It was previously owned under a joint venture arrangement. As I said, that current mineral resource sits at 32.7 million tonnes. And we think the upside potential is on the back of quite a significant exploration campaign we've got planned in the second half of this year, around 50,000 metres. And a great infrastructure, again, being 100 kilometres from Kalgoorlie, we can draw on resources from that particular city. And we've got a number of logistics options in which we can deliver our product to market. Next slide. Just touching on the asset itself, we feel it's got world-class potential. Still, work to be done, of course, but we do have an existing resource here. We've completed a scoping study, and we're now underway in a DFS. But as you can see here, we've wrapped a pit around the existing resource. About 50% of those tonnes are in the indicated classification. We have got an extension to the northeast, which we're looking to drill out and explore further in the second half of this year, as I mentioned. And we have completed a number of sort of geophysical, geochemical surveys in the first half of this year, which are really, really important in terms of providing additional targets for exploration. And now that we own the tenemency wholly, the land package has increased about 5x on the back of that ownership position. We're exploring a number of additional targets in and around the Mana asset. Next, please. Mining lease has been submitted. We lodged that last month. It'll be April now. But importantly, not many companies get to put in a mining lease application. A lot of work goes into this, and we're really, really pleased with the amount of work that's gone in. We think there's clear growth potential, and so we've certainly allowed for that in terms of the land package incorporated within our mining lease, which covers around 2,500 hectares. There's a number of technical de-risking sort of work streams that are ongoing as part of the DFS and the MET program. We've also announced some really positive AllSorting results, which we think have great potential for spodumene beneficiation. I'll talk about those in an upcoming slide. Next, please. I mentioned the DFS is underway. We moved quickly into DFS. We had enough confidence in the mineralogy. It's a fairly consistent grade throughout the deposit, so we are expecting to deliver the results of the DFS at the back end of this year. We're working with Wave International, very experienced lithium consultant. And as I said, we've collected more than 9,000 kilograms of predominantly spodumene-bearing pegmatite core, some of which is in the photo behind me. And certainly this will be used for not only an expanded metallurgical test program, which will shore up the flow sheet, but we're also using those samples for various vendor testing and, of course, the AllSorting variability test work, which some of that has recently completed. And, of course, our Enviro Heritage work activities are continuing. We're making good progress in that space, and we've built out a really strong approvals team to help assist us on that journey. Next, please. I touched on the AllSorting. We actually had an ASX announcement earlier this week in terms of the result here, delivered a 90% increase in the lithium grade, so pushed that up to about 1.6%. We think AllSorting, as I mentioned, is going to deliver a number of benefits. It will reduce the iron content considerably because our waste rock is very clearly discernible visually and optically. So we think with the increase in computer processing speeds, this type of technology has great potential in spodumene beneficiation. It can also increase the throughput of the total plant, allows us to selectively mine some very thin, high-grade pegmatite lenses, which may not necessarily be included in the existing mineral resource. So there's more work to do here. The initial trials included a plant of around 90 metric tonnes per hour. We'll look to expand it up to 200 plus tonnes per hour as part of our next trial. Next. I mentioned we had two projects, and Marble Bar is our second. And the reason I like showing this slide, just showing the drillers in action, you can see in the background there the Marble Bar Road. So to the left, 160 kilometres will take you to the Port of Port Hedland, a major export terminal, great infrastructure. And to the right is the town of Marble Bar, about 15 kilometres. So there's very few lithium projects I'm aware of that have a sealed road running via or through a tenemency, and this is certainly one of those. And as you can see there, we're drilling pegmatites about 30 metres off that existing road at the moment. Next. Again, this is a spodumene-bearing pegmatite. It's got a greenstone and a granite contact, so a little bit different to Manna, which is hosted predominantly in greenstone. Similar geological setting to Pilgangoora and Wodgina. Those two assets are sitting out to the west of us. We currently have an inferred mineral resource around 18 million tonnes at 1%. But again, it's a very large area, lithium mineralisation over sort of 15 kilometres. There is upside here. We need to get on country and do more exploring. We've just completed a heritage survey with the local Nyamal, and we'll have the drill bit spinning a bit later this month. And again, from an infrastructure perspective, in my view, at least, it's peerless. And as a result of the infrastructure and the location, there's really, really strong interest in this particular project. Next. Just showing the extent of the mineralisation here in our land package. You can see the source granite out to the east. We have got this Goldilocks zone, which is high impact for expected lithium-bearing pegmatites and related lithium mineralisation. You can see there, we've only explored a very small portion. So the campaign this year, as far as exploration goes, will be to test out some of the corridors sitting out to the northeast of the existing resource. And also there's some targets down on the southeast as well. And we do have a very nice gold anomaly sitting up on the north that we'll also look to explore throughout the course of this year's drilling. Next. I mentioned heritage surveys have completed, in fact, and we've got a 20,000 metre campaign, RC predominantly, scheduled for resource extensional drilling for this particular asset throughout the course of this year. So finishing off, my last slide is really Next is just looking at some of the key milestones we can expect, to 30 odd months. Exploration is really a key focus for us, building out the resource across both projects. Again, having 2 projects gives us great optionality. We've got a fantastic team. The DFS and an ore reserve expected out in Q3 this year. We've got the MET testing underway using the Nagron lab, probably arguably the most experienced spodumene beneficiation metallurgical lab on the planet. And we're also exploring some DSO opportunities. We've got a PFS underway for a DSO operation, and once our mining lease is granted, we could have the trucks backing up on site within a matter of months. We are also interested in downstream. Clearly, there's some opportunities there. Resource upgrades, approvals. Approvals is really a critical path for us, as it is for most mining projects, and all going well. We should segue into a final investment decision around the middle of next year, with construction taking around 18 months, and then of course start of production, commissioning and ramp up, which is another sort of 6 to 12 month journey. So first spodumene concentrate production in market 2026. And that's it. My last slide, really, it's about the people piece. If you can just flip to the next slide. People's everything. We've got great assets, but unless you've got the right team, it's really hard to bring those assets to life and to market. So that's been a core focus of my leadership role, is really getting the best people in the company and give us the best chance of being the next spodumene producer in Western Australia. So thanks very much. Happy to take any questions.
Thanks, Ron. A couple of quick questions. A couple of questions coming through. Can you give us an update on offtake discussions?
Yeah, offtake. We're a lot of interest. The interest is it's incredible, honestly. I mean, the amount of unsolicited offers and proposals we've received have been quite outstanding. And look, I've been in the industry longer than most, Tim, 13 odd years, and I've never seen the likes of it. But yeah, look, we're proceeding through very prudent, well coordinated, and sophisticated discussions with a number of counterparties. Our expectation around offtake is that, we're not going to give our lithium away. We've worked hard to develop these projects and get us to this point. So, we're looking for a true partnership approach as it relates to offtake. And that means risk sharing and capital sharing. So we've got a very strong expectation that whoever partners with us around offtake is going to come to the table and de-risk the project with a significant amount of capital via a prepay or a similar debt type instrument.
And just a question here on your share registry. You obviously got the likes of MinRes, a very significant share registry. You also got some Chinese interest, and we've seen some clawback of potential government loans from the DOE. Do you see that Chinese interest on your register being an impediment for grants in the future?
Yeah, no, I don't. Look, we're an Australian listed company. We've got an Australian management team. There's no board seats from any of these individual strategics, so there's no interference from that perspective. The reality is it was seed money that came in early in the company's evolution, but like all companies, they evolve, and that register evolves accordingly, and we're seeing a tremendous interest from the institutional investors. So I suspect that the register will continue to evolve over time, but certainly we've not received any indication that our projects are at risk from potential capital allocations under these type of funding arrangements.
And in your milestones, you touched on that DSO option, which is that a direct shipping ore option? Can you maybe give us a little bit more colour on that?
Yeah, sure. Well, look, with the AllSorting, that's really unlocked the value. This is game changer technology for our project because we've got such a discernible waste rock. So we think we can potentially, with AllSorting and a primary jaw crush on site, produce a really, really high grade DSO. Now, whether we look to sell that in country, there's clearly opportunities to sell that material in country at a number of the spodumene beneficiation units that are currently in production. There's 5 or 6 that are currently in Western Australia, but enormous interest from offshore as well. So we think DSO will be a near-term cash flow opportunity for us. It's not a long-term, strategy. It'll be something we'll deploy for maybe 12 to 18 months, generate some significant cash flow whilst the main beneficiation plan is being constructed. So, yeah, very well positioned.
Ron, thanks for your time. That's all we have time for. Have a nice weekend, and we'll chase you up later in the year.
My pleasure, Tim. Thanks very much.
Thank you.